Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and it is my humble opinion that XRP is going to outperform gold in the coming years. And in fact, I will even argue that XRP is more scarce than gold, provably more scarce. And in terms of utility, because utility does matter, in fact, my entire investment thesis is that utility matters and will win the day. Look, we have to see what happens, admittedly, because in terms of the importance of fundamentals with the crypto asset class, I know it's early days and not enough people are weighting the importance of that when making determinations of what to buy and sell in the world of crypto. And it's also the case that most cryptocurrencies aren't functionally being used for anything, and even as far as XRP, and I will acknowledge this as well, it's being used, and it's got the most notable use case out of every cryptocurrency in existence, and there are over 7,000 of them. So XRP is number one in my book in terms of utility, but I'm still willing to admit, because I'm not some sort of hype man, that in the scheme of things, the potential for XRP, it hasn't achieved nearly as much as I think it could in the future. I think that's perfectly fair to say. I am Mr. XRP Bull for a reason, and it comes down to fundamentals. A lot to say in this video, but I do want to be clear, I don't have a financial background. I do not. I am not offering financial advice of any kind, and you absolutely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an everyday Joe Schmo. I'm happy to share my opinions because I just think it's fun to talk about this stuff as a member of the XRP community and make YouTube videos, all that jazz, but that is all that it is. I want to be super clear. Don't want anyone to think that I'm someone or something that I'm not. I think transparency along those lines is actually very important. Before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button, I would definitely appreciate the support. And also, if you are a fan of Ripple and XRP, you done came to the right spot, son. We be talking about XRP up in here a day. So go ahead and subscribe. Why not? It don't cost nothing, man. And also, by the way, we've got two. I'm going to share with you a piece after this. So the first piece I'm going to cover is titled Bitcoin Will Outperform Gold by Every Metric. Says CEO who just poured $425 million into Bitcoin. Yes, that's a crazy amount of money, right? Almost $500 million. And also the idea of the market cap. Let's talk about this. I got a lot to say on this. The idea of having a multi-trillion-dollar crypto asset class, I've talked about this concept in the past, but I have to say, for those cryptocurrencies that truly have staying power, to me it would be weird, certainly if we didn't get into the trillion and multi-trillion dollar range, but I would certainly anticipate, especially for those cryptos that are going to have staying power as a whole, why would the asset class not get to the point where it's worth tens of trillions of dollars, with the cryptocurrencies that offer the most utility being ranked the highest in the multi-trillions? Like, to me, it would be weird if we never got there. Super duper weird, just my humble opinion. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I'm just saying, we have a baby asset class here worth only a little over $300 billion with a B as I record this. And you got gold by itself worth something that's upwards of $10 trillion. It don't make no damn sense to Moon Lambo. But let's jump into this piece now. The CEO of the publicly traded business intelligence company that invested $425 million in Bitcoin says Bitcoin is a superior asset to gold. Now, part of the reason I want to cover this, even though obviously this is an XRP-centric channel, is because although obviously this particular CEO, who I think is sharp, I think he's across the board pretty damn well reasoned, I think a lot of what he says is applicable to really any cryptocurrency that's going to actually have staying power. And I personally would count XRP among those, whatever that little group is, whatever it is. And even, Dan Moret, who's the CEO founder of Pantera Capital, said, if you fast forward a decade, you probably only are going to have like 8 to 10 cryptos. Now, I don't know for sure if you're going to actually get it whittled down that quickly, but in terms of long-term viability, he just can't imagine that there are going to be so many different use cases that you need thousands of different new forms of money, which that does make sense to me. I just know I don't know what the timeline's going to look like, but that's why I keep saying, for those that actually offer utility and are uniquely positioned and have become standards for specific use cases, those are the ones that will be viable long-term, I personally believe, and those will be the cryptocurrencies that are valued in the trillions. I believe that can happen. I'm not pretending to know that it will happen. I'm not stating emphatically that it will. I acknowledge I could be wrong, but I would be surprised if that didn't happen, given enough time for enough institutional and retail investors to get in and for utility to take hold. It would be super weird to me if that didn't happen, because you can do things and have business models that literally otherwise couldn't exist. You're talking about the way that money moves around the planet. And as Ripple is positioning XRP as a bridge asset, and as they're developing the internet of value, the implications of that are just staggering, right? But here's a quote from the CEO, Michael Saylor. He's the CEO of MicroStrategy, and he explained in an interview with Stansberry Research why Bitcoin will outperform gold in the long run. And he said, I considered gold, and then I started studying the two. And then I realized that gold miners are going to produce about 2% more gold every year. Let's just say in the best of the world did I read that? Let's just say in the best of the world for 100 years we produce 2% more gold. That means $100 million will be debased down to $12.5 million in 100 years. On the other hand, Bitcoin is exponentially going to infinity stock to flow. There's never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoin. And indeed, the scarcity is of supreme importance. And I must acknowledge that. You can have incredible utility and it's still notable scarcity, which is certainly the case with Bitcoin, and it is the case with XRP. 100 billion XRP max, and especially considering it's deflationary, it's not that much XRP. It really is not. Not if you're talking about a globally adopted XRP. But here's the rest of his quote. So you're really talking about, at most, diluting $100 million of Bitcoin by 10 million over the 100 years. Given the fact that Bitcoin is an infinitely hard asset, whereas gold can be produced by human beings given enough incentive, I realize that over the long term, Bitcoin is the harder asset than gold. And that is a fair argument. That is absolutely a fair argument. Gold, although you could argue certainly there's a finite supply on the planet, there's no indication that humans are going to hit a wall in terms of being able to extract it from the planet anytime soon. And then there's a whole other argument, it's a whole other can of worms I won't get into in this video, of eventually, when humans are technologically advanced enough, extracting gold from space. Because we do know that there's gold in space. Unquestionably, which means infinity market cap, right? So, and that's even going to happen in my lifetime. I'm not saying that, but the arguments have been made by the likes of, the Winklevoss twin. I think it was them anyway. Or it could have been them. It could have been Elon Musk even that was talking about that. I can't remember. I feel like I covered it on the channel. I definitely read about it though. But anyway, Saylor says that with every other commodity, a rise in price means a rise in incentive to produce it, which in turn balances out the price by expanding the supply. Now, Bitcoin, however, doesn't face the same conundrum. And again, this is true for XRP as well. And in fact, consider that, again, like I said, with every transaction, a little tiny shred of XRP gets burnt. And so it's actually deflationary. With Bitcoin, yeah, you could say it's ultimately deflationary because people lose it. Well, you had that with XRP too. People lose keys, people pass on this or that, and then there aren't directions as to how to access it. Like, that stuff's always going to happen, which is always going to make those assets more scarce. You know what that will do for supply and demand given enough time, right? But here's another quote from Michael Saylor. If you double the price of gold, you're going to double the incentive of miners to produce gold. And if gold goes up by a factor of 10, human beings have a way of putting capital into mining and ingenuity, and they'll have better ways to mine it, and at some point they'll melt down their jewelry or they'll find other gold. On the other hand, if Bitcoin goes up by a factor of 10, no amount of investment in Bitcoin mining can produce more Bitcoin. And in the case of XRP, obviously, there is no mining because all of the XRP was created at inception. And so you don't have to worry about that either there. Which is cool. Like, this guy has clearly thought through it, and I can understand why he went with Bitcoin over any altcoin. That's fine. I respect his decision. I get where he's coming from. But in terms of an opportunity for asymmetrical gains, it's my humble opinion that XRP is substantially going to outpace Bitcoin over the next market cycle. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. I'm not claiming to be some sort of wizard with a crystal ball. That's just where I certainly suspect things are going to go. And here's another quote from him. Bitcoin is digital gold, and that means it's faster. I can move it 1,000 places in a couple of seconds. Well, wait till the network congestion happens and you have to wait a week. A week, and then you're paying hundreds of dollars potentially for a single transaction. Because in the last bull run, mind you, I personally, at least once, paid a fee to move Bitcoin of $50. What the hell is that? Like, what's going to happen when you have fees because there's so much congestion that gets substantially higher than that? There are serious scaling issues here. And maybe if you're really going to hodl for like a decade, maybe you're like, okay, it costs a few $100s to move it. Maybe it's not a problem, but I am still concerned about that, which is why, from my perspective, I want Bitcoin to be around forever. I would prefer that. Even if XRP never supplants it in terms of market cap, I still want Bitcoin around because that's good for the whole space, which means it's good for XRP. There's no need to get that greedy. XRP must be number one market cap. Well, it could happen. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying I don't feel like I need that. I'd rather just have Bitcoin be around in perpetuity because that, to me, that would be much more beneficial to us as XRP holders. That's my opinion on this. But who knows? We'll just have to see how this goes ultimately. But yeah, Bitcoin is digital gold, and that means it's faster. Again, I can move it 1,000 places in a couple of seconds. We'll see about that. You can with XRP. You certainly can with XRP. He writes, it's stronger. I can pledge $100 million for 3 hours in Japan on a Saturday afternoon. It's smarter. I can write a computer program that will slice in 1,000,000 pieces and do complicated things with it. It's only going to get better every year, forever, because it's software. And what that means is people that are attracted to Apple and Amazon and Google and Facebook, because they're smarter, faster, stronger networks, they're going to be attracted to Bitcoin. So if there are indeed scaling solutions that will ultimately work, maybe magically Lightning Network will work. I'm still skeptical of that, but I don't pretend to know. Then super duper. I would certainly much prefer it all just work. That would be a lot less messy here. Then you've got this piece titled Investment Firm That Called Tesla's Meteoric Rise. It says Bitcoin targeting $5 trillion market cap. And this is where you get to the concept of individual cryptocurrencies having multi-trillion-dollar asset caps. And I won't be surprised if you have, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3, just a small number perhaps, I will not be surprised if there are individual cryptocurrencies, even if it's decades from now. I don't know how long it would take. I will not be surprised if some of them have individual market caps in the tens of trillions, or at least 10. You've got gold there, and I already see that cryptocurrencies, they can be more scarce. They can offer more utility, right? So it's not a wacky idea. It's just the people that aren't visionary enough. You say something like that to somebody that's never processed a concept like that in their little brain. It just sounds wacky on the surface. But like the people that have the strongest opinions and are the biggest naysayers are some of the least informed people on the planet. But once you start to educate yourself and learn about cryptocurrency, you can see, holy hell, there's actually something to this. And again, you can have business models that otherwise couldn't exist without it. And so this piece states, an investment firm that predicted Tesla's meteoric ascent is extremely bullish on Bitcoin and says the top cryptocurrency's market cap could go as high as $5 trillion. And again, if Bitcoin's going to continue to lead in the market, imagine what that will do. Even if XRP is following Bitcoin during this time period, my gosh, what the hell do you think that's going to mean for an XRP that today has a market cap of somewhere in the neighborhood of like 10 or 11 billion dollars with a B? You're talking about Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes to 5 trillion, holy hell, can you imagine the multiplier effect for XRP? But anyway, in a comprehensive report, New York-based thematic investment firm ARK Invest sees massive growth potential for Bitcoin over the next few years, despite its already impressive run that has defied expectations. And here's a quote. Our analysis suggests Bitcoin is early on its path to monetization with substantial appreciation potential. In our view, Bitcoin's $200 billion market capitalization, or network value, will scale more than an order of magnitude to the trillions during the next decade. Well, I'll be honest with you, I sure as hell hope that happens. I really do. As an XRP holder, I hope Bitcoin has that level of adoption and success. I really do. But I will leave it right there. That's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!